Hello. Welcome to the first of my live coaching sessions on here on Facebook. And it's about building connections for a positive mindset. So if you're logging on, just drop in and say hi. I know a lot of you, it's quite early in the morning, so may not be able to make it, but please do watch it on the replay. And if you're watching on the replay, feel free to get involved, comment. I do all read all the comments and I'm aware of everything that's sort of said on them. So I will comment, I will reply, and I will be interacting with you. So today we're looking at how we can get into a much more positive mindset. And stay with me because I'm going to have some exercises for you to do at the end, some stuff for you to get on with. Hi. And some things for you to get into this in a much more deeper level and to actually really expand on it. But what we're going to do right now is focus on how we get into these positive states and what they actually are. So I thought I'd start by looking at what they're not. And when we talk about positive mindset, a positive state, we are not talking about toxic positivity. Okay, toxic positivity is when you say, oh, yes, I'm fine, I'm happy, everything's wonderful. Just look on the bright side, just think positively. They're very inauthentic. I remember, I'm very sad to admit that I watched Big Brother quite a few years ago. And there was one contestant on there who used to say that she loved everything and loved everyone. Hi, Janet. And one of the problems you have when someone is saying, oh, I love this, I love that, and they're smiling at you, and there's nothing genuine behind it, is there's no real connection made. And if you are in a state where maybe things aren't going that great for you, and somebody says to you, oh, come on, just look on the bright side, or just think positively, it undermines how you feel. And it can actually lead you to suppressing your emotions and feeling isolated. So that's not really what we're talking about. We're talking about when you get into a genuine positive state. And these are authentic. These are when you experience real joy, real happiness, real contentment. And when I say happiness, I'm not going to delve into the realm of what happiness is in this, but for these purposes, happiness is whatever you feel happiness is for you. Okay, it's a very personal thing. And so happiness is what is for you. And when we are getting to a genuine positive state, it's a result of a meaningful action or connection. So we're making a real connection with people, or we're doing something positive in our lives. And we'll go into this a bit more further on. But unlike with toxic positivity, it's not forced, it's not made up, and it allows you to actually have the full range of human emotions. So you can still be becoming into a genuine positive state and acknowledging and experiencing pain and sadness. So it's not an either or, it's something that you can have alongside it. And the real key difference is that toxic positivity is inauthentic, there's no connection, and it's actually a barrier between you and other people. Whereas a genuine positive state allows for connection and allows you to be your authentic, true self. And so what I want to talk to you quickly about, and this is just a quick overview because this is where it's come from. It's a thing called positive psychology. And this is basically a scientific study that's been done on the things that make life most worth living. And this can be either on an individual basis or for society. And it's not about ignoring the negative things that happen, because things do happen, but it's about how we navigate through them and how we actually achieve things in life. So it's a bit about how we build resilience as well, and how we come into a positive state despite the negative things that are happening around us. And with this, it's kind of started to shift the narrative away from symptoms and treatment and more towards holistic well-being, where we can then focus on our strengths and our virtues and the factors that contribute to a really fulfilling life. And we're learning more and more about this all the time. And this kind of psychology, it sort of backs the importance of a genuine positivity, and it helps give us the tools to get there. So one of the things you'll find with genuine positivity is it comes from connection. And we'll look at that in a bit more detail, because you've got interpersonal connections, so how we connect with other people. So these are meaningful connections that we have with others. It might be something like having a really in-depth conversation with someone you care about. It might be a little hug. It could be as much as just a shared smile with a stranger on the street. And that's a slight positive. It's going to put you into a connection with another person, which is going to help to increase your positive state. Like for me, for example, my son has taken to doing these things where I've got my phone out and he'll say, Mummy, put your phone down. And when I put it down, he just comes over and gives me a huge, great big hug. And it's really loving. It lasts for a short time because he's 3 and he can't stand still for longer than 10 seconds. But it's a real connection, and then he moves on. And those are the positive states, those are the connections that help to boost how we feel. And then you've got your personal connection. So this is with yourself. So this is when you're doing things, and these are crucial as well to getting into genuine positive states. So spending time with yourself, acknowledging your achievements. Um, so when we were talking about self-love last week, all of those things where we acknowledge ourselves, we connect with ourselves, they are all part of building a positive state. And the joy of just being alone, so maybe the joy of meditating. For me, it might be when I get my sewing machine out and I sit on the sewing machine for 2 hours and I think, where did those 2 hours go? Because they just flew by just like that, and they were gone. And it was that positive. I was in that positive state. I was in flow. I was in a zone, and I was feeling great. Now, the thing with these states, when we get into them, so we start to feel positive, is that we create a feedback loop. And this is really important. This is where we start to this is where we really start to get the benefits of this. So when you experience something positive, or positive connection and meaningful connection, and it puts you in a positive state, you then find more meaningful connections, which puts you keeps you in a positive state, and then you find more. So if you think of it like this, if you're at work, say one day, and you having a really good chat with someone and you feel really good. So as you're walking back to your desk, you might walk past someone else and you naturally just smile at that person. They smile back. So you've now made another connection and you feel good again. And then somebody walks over to you and they want to talk about something, and you are going into that interaction in a positive state of mind, and then you build a really good connection with that person, and that then boosts your positive state of mind. And so we actually are creating a feedback loop in the brain. So now we're getting into the realm of neuroplasticity. So the more we train our brain to have positive connections, to have meaningful connections with other people, the more we put ourselves in positive states, the more we start looking for those, and we create this constant feedback loop, and we actually develop much more positive states of mind more often. And a lot of these ideas, obviously they're coming from positive psychology. And one great psychologist that's worked on this is someone called Barbara Fredrickson, and she's done a book called Love 2.0. She's done a few books, but Love 2.0 is where I've read a lot about this. And it's a new concept of love. So when we form a relationship with someone and we make a commitment, that's a commitment. That's not love. That's a commitment. And you can make a commitment to anybody. You can have a business relationship and you can form a lifelong commitment. Love is the moments where you are interacting with somebody. So it is a shared laugh. It's a bit of holding hands. It's a smile. It's those connections that we make with other people. And that's what helps to expand those things even more. And they're called, she refers to them as micro moments of positive resonance, which to me is a mouthful and rather confusing, but it's these little moments, we could call them micro moments of connection, where we form a loving bond with another human being. It might be just standing in a shop and somebody says hello and you smile and you say hello back. You've then experienced a moment of love, a moment of positivity, and it's just a micro moment. And what we want to be looking for is these short-lived micro moments, how many we can have, how often we can have them, and having them more and more and more. And they basically, you can think of them as short-lived moments of mutual care or shared positive emotions, and they can happen between you and literally anybody. So thinking of that, can you think of any micro moments of positivity, of joy, of connection that you've had in the last couple of days? This morning, I was taking my son to school. He was in his pushchair and he asked me a question, and I leant over to look at him, and he stopped what he was doing. He looked me in the eye and he just gently stroked my face and then carried on with his conversation. And it was just this real moment of connection. It lasted literally probably only about 5 seconds. It was really short. And those kind of things, those are little micro moments, and we have so many of them in the day that we don't even realize them. So starting to think back and becoming aware of any micro moments that you've had. Feel free to share. I'm not against sharing, as you know. Um, and think of those micro moments that maybe you've had in the last couple of days where you've connected. So while you're thinking about those, we're going to talk about what this actually means for us. So when we have these connections, it isn't just a smile at someone. It isn't just a small moment. We actually will mirror their expressions. Our hormone levels will come into balance, and even our heart rates. Even in these really small moments, our bodies will sync up with somebody else. And so we are actually building a real physical and emotional connection. And so these can actually contribute to your well-being and a much more fuller experience of life. So we want to be looking for them basically and finding them as much as possible. And so as we start to consciously seek and engage in these small moments, we start to really build up our positive mindset over time. And like I've said before, you get into that feedback loop. And it creates lasting benefits, especially as you create that feedback loop, you start to look for these without trying. So at first, you may be consciously looking for positive moments of connection and working on finding those. But over time, your brain has learned that actually, when we find these micro moments of connection, we are put in a much more positive state. We feel much better. So your brain will do what it does naturally, and it will start looking for them subconsciously. And then you start to form them more and more, and you spend more time in a positive state of mind and a genuine positive state of mind with genuine connections all around you. So why is this so important? Yes, we're in a positive state of mind, but what does this actually really mean? Well, for you to make it so that it's something that actually you're going to get some real benefits out of it, you will find that as you build more of these connections, you spend more time in these genuine positive states, you have improved mental health and you're better at dealing with stress and you have a greater life satisfaction. So all in all, what you're doing is you're making your life more fulfilling, more satisfying and happier. And like I said before, whatever happiness means to you, but your mental health will be in a much better state. You will feel much more connected with people. And that's great because then it means you stress. And also because you've got these connections, when you do feel bad, you do feel stressed and you do have things, you have people that you have genuine, authentic connections with that you can talk to and you can share those moments with. And that's a positive. So what we want to look at is how can you take this from what I'm talking to you right now, because I wanted to keep this short and sweet. I don't want to keep you on here for all day. How can you take this and use it to your benefit so you can actually get the maximum out of it? And based on some of the things that I've read in Love 2.0 and the exercises in there, what I would recommend is in your journal every day, at the end of every day, write about the 3 most significant connections that you have had in that day. Now, they may be positive, they may be negative. Okay, so you're not trying to make them positive, you're just writing about them. You may find that over time of writing about them, you naturally form more positive connections. So your 3 main connections will tend to be positive. That's just because the brain will start becoming more aware of the connections that it's having and the way it's interacting with people. But I would also like you, if you can, at the end of each day to start journaling about the micro moments of positivity you've had, the micro moments of connection. So when you have had that smile, you shared a smile with someone in the street, write it down. When you've been into a shop and the person serving you has asked you what your day's been like and you've responded and had a conversation, albeit only a very short one, with that person, write about it. Start to become aware of these connections you have that bring positivity in and draw more of them into your life, because actually the more we start to draw in, the more we start to become aware, the more they happen more naturally. And then you start to spend more time in the positive state. And one of the things that I would like to say to go alongside that is start to become aware of your state of mind. So if you can, in the mornings, journal about how you feel when you get up in terms of positivity. So maybe rank it on a scale of 1 to 10. So where 1 is you feel blooming awful and 10 is you feel fantastic. So rank how you feel in the morning when you get up and rank how you feel at the end of the day. And look at the connections you've had and if there's any correlation. And you may find that over time, as you're working on these more positive connections, you're building them, you're getting into a positive state a lot more often. that when you're waking up in the morning, those numbers start to creep up, and that actually where you are generally in your happiness scale, your positivity scale, you go up. And this is, as you're doing all these exercises, it's worth reiterating that this should not be forced. Okay, so you should not be making yourself be happy, making yourself smile at people. This is about forming a genuine connection. So, as much as possible, where somebody is there to interact with, interacting with them. Now, if at first you feel like you don't really interact that well with them, that's okay. You will find that as you get used to this, as you get used to interacting with people, to making eye contact. So when you're in that shop and someone is serving you, just making eye contact and acknowledging that the person that is serving you is a human being. Okay, because we got so used to dealing with machines, we actually tend to treat other humans like machines as well. So acknowledging that they are there, they are connecting with you, and that they are serving you, and making eye contact with them. And they may then, when you make eye contact, they may smile at you, and your natural instinct will be to smile back. So now you've just had a connection with somebody without really trying. And it's a genuine connection, not forcing yourself. You're not pretending to be happy when you're not. It has to be a genuine smile. It has to be one that reaches the eyes as well. We're not out there for faking, for forcing, for pretending. And there's no room in positive states for just think positively, look on the bright side, dismiss how you feel. Acknowledge how you feel. Always, always acknowledge how you feel and allow the positive, the genuine positive states to come in naturally. So that's it from me today. I've taken you through quite a lot, but do as many of these exercises as you can. Get your journal out, really think about it, and think about the connections that you're forming with other people, and just see how, by forming positive connections, by forming micro moments, interacting with people, how that can actually affect your mood on a day-to-day basis. And that's it for today. There will be more coaching sessions coming weekly. I'm going to do a list of upcoming topics for you so you know what's coming. Again, if you're watching on replay or afterwards, you want to go through this again, if you have any questions, pop them in the box below. I'm happy to answer them. I'm around, I'm about, and I'm happy to talk to anyone. Just a reminder that tomorrow evening we have our live meditation as well, and details will be in the group. And that's it for today. So thank you for taking part, and I will see you again soon.